Today I want to talk about a video game icon. Someone who's been around since the very beginning. No, not Mario. Not Crash, either. Are you fucking kidding me? No, I want to talk about Pac-Man. I don't really have a reason. I've never been one to actively seek out Pac-Man games, but I don't see many people talking about them lately. I never heard anything about Pac-Man World, and there were 3 of those games. When Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures was announced as a game and coinciding show, I got intrigued. When it was released, I barely saw any reviews, and what I did see was a mixed bag. So I've decided to give it a try myself, and see what it's like. I got the game for $10. Did I find it for a deal? Let's find out with the first Pro! This game has the feel of a collectathon from the days of the 64. The stages are linear for the most part, with small areas off to the side for you to deviate from the straightforward path. You don't have to get everything, but it definitely feels rewarding to see the score climb. Rarely have I seen a game that encourages that. Even in Dynasty Warriors, I've begun to not care about the kill count. I actually feel like I want to get everything in this game. It really brings me back to stuff like Crash, or Croc, or Gex. Though the levels are straight down a narrow path, it feels like there's a lot of enemies and collectibles in the stage. If you die, enemies respawn. I've always preferred this for a linear game, because if you almost made it to the next chapter, then you died, it'd be boring to trek to where you left off. Even the little dots scattered all around the stage. All they do is unlock new stages. But even after unlocking every single stage, I'm still compelled to continue collecting every single one of them. And that, my friends, is the marking of a good collectathon. Con! Now I want to touch on the story. Why is there one? Well, I know the answer to that. It's almost required now that games have stories, even when they don't need one. This is an example of a game that doesn't require a story, or as much of a story as we're given. It would really just need to be, hey Pac-Man, it looks like ghosts are trying to take over the world, you should go protect it or something. But then there's the fact that whatever bosses you have are not the ghosts from the original. Yeah, Inky, Pinky, Blinky, and Clyde are actually Pac-Man's friends. I know it's explained in the TV show that Betrayus, the main villain, wasn't a good leader for them, so they turned coat, but that doesn't make sense to the Pac-Man lore. I would have preferred that these ghosts be the bosses at the end of each world. Then there's one thing that is not forgivable. Essentially giving Pac-Man the same voice as the English dub of Naruto. When I look at Pac-Man's design, I don't imagine this voice.
You were right, Cersei. I found another tablet.
The voice sounds like it makes him 13 years old, when he looks like he's 20-something. I would have rathered a mature voice for the character. I think it would have been better for him not to be in school, but then again, I don't make video games, so what do I know? Pro! Though the levels are short, they're all very well designed. The small detail changes between the stage within each area on the map is just enough change to enjoy. No 2 stages feel too similar to each other. This is refreshing, as I find you can mix up stages in modern platformers and not notice the difference. Each level and world has a natural progression to it. Some stages really take advantage of the different power-ups Pac-Man can receive, whether it's swinging from posts as Chameleon Pac, to freezing lava to create platforms as Fire Pac. I actually liked going back and replaying stages to get the bonus coins. I found this to be an enjoyable experience. Again, it's the same old thing, but there's the charm in the game's level design and its looks. When you get to the 3rd world, you start to realize just how good this game looks. The environments, the lighting effects, everything just goes so well with each other. Pac-Man never feels out of place. Even though he never changes, with the exception of each power, he seems to fit right in with the game's world. Con! Probably the most difficult thing to get used to in this game is the aiming. I always seem to have a hard time putting Pac-Man in the right place. The camera can also work against you, which is weird because you can control it. Most of the time it's alright, but I continually go to chomp on a ghost just to get hit by the same ghost because I wasn't perfectly aimed to it. I feel like this should be more refined. It makes me want to skip by the ghost rather than fight them. And I would if there wasn't a trophy for 100 kills as each of Pac-Man's power-ups, and 300 kills as regular Pac-Man after you've scared them. Sometimes the camera works against you for the platforming too. It can be rare, but it makes you want to stop playing the game entirely. You'll be on a good streak when all of a sudden, bam, you lost your footing because you couldn't see where the platform was. At least after you've died, you know where it is. Pro! This game's length is just right. I know some YouTubers have spoken out about the legitimacy of shorter games. When you work a full-time job, plus make YouTube videos, and you want to have a life besides that, short games are a godsend. I I can't tell you how many games I've started, but I haven't finished. With an estimated time of 10 hours to get the Platinum Trophy for this game, it's definitely a complete experience for the busy gamer. It didn't take me very long to fully complete this game, and it felt good to do that. I was playing this game while writing the script and writing the last Disgusted episode, so you know I had a lot on my plate. This is definitely a game for the busy completionist. Well, except for this fucker. Even when you're going back to get the arcade tokens from each stage, you blast through them as if they were nothing. When you know the level like the back of your hand, you make record time to get that token. If you've gotten all the trophies for each of the power-ups, it makes the stages even more of a cakewalk. You don't have to think about every little thing as you go through the stage. This game is quick and painless. God! Speaking of painless, the biggest glaring disappointment is the lack of a challenge. You can understand the first few stages being easy peasy, but with the exception of the arcade bonus games, I didn't have much of a challenge completing this game. Even then, some of the arcade games were only a slight challenge. The final boss of the entire game is insultingly easy, and even some of the final stages were so quick, I felt like I had to double check to see if I accidentally took a shortcut. And as I said before, going back and getting the arcade tokens was so easy. This definitely should have been more of a challenge mode or a time trial for each stage. The only thing that made me think this is hard is the Pacerkini arcade game. It was so much harder compared to the rest of the game. This will eat away your tokens and turns this game into a challenge to get the platinum. That being said, it only took me about 30 minutes of trying. I'd still say this game is a cakewalk, especially the main game. I went into this game expecting mediocrity. What I got was a pleasant platformer that was simple, for the most part, to complete. There were some flaws, but it didn't take away from the overall experience. This game really brought me back to my PlayStation days when I was playing Spyro and Crash after school. I really enjoyed this game and never expected that I would want to get the Platinum Trophy for it, and I don't feel embarrassed to have it either. I would definitely recommend this game, especially for its going rate. You'll probably find it for about $10-20 bucks. I actually picked up the sequel just to give it a try. Who knows, maybe I'll review it later. Even though I can praise Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, it's not a perfect game, but I did have a lot of enjoyment from what I was expecting, so I give this game 6.5 out of 10. Even though I enjoyed it, most of the enjoyment was due to it being short. The level design and some of the power-ups were creative, but the fact still remains that there could have been more. When I play the sequel, I'm going to go into it with a very optimistic mind, and I think you should at least try this game out if you grew up with the 3D platformers. It might not be pure nostalgia, but it's definitely worth your time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, you should give it a like and subscribe for more PVC reviews. I also do comparison and discussion videos. If you want to check out more of my other works, I've got some links on the screen. If you want to help support me, you can check out my Bandcamp. The link is in the description. All the songs on there as of today are Pay What You Want, and any money that I make goes into buying new equipment for my music and my videos. And of course, I'd really appreciate it. So tell me, have you played this game? What do you think about the new Pac-Man? Have you watched the show? I think I've watched a couple episodes. It's kind of forgettable, but the game isn't half bad. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm feeling very nostalgic, and I can't wait for the Crash remake to come out. So I'm just gonna watch the E3 announcement for the 743rd time. See ya!